Garth Brooks has had a hearty resume when it comes to opportunities he's had during his career. To name just a few, he's performed the national anthem at the Super Bowl in 1993, performed at a packed concert in New York City's Central Park in 1977, and he's played for every president since Jimmy Carter, with the exception of Ronald Reagan, adding now Joe Biden's inauguration to his list. I'm Addison Hager for Taste of Country, and before we go on, take a moment to double check that you're subscribed to our channel, so when country music breaking news hits, you're in the know. I'm talking with Taste of Country's Billy Dukes about Brooks' part in Joe Biden's inauguration, as well as what this means for Brooks when it comes to where the singer stands politically, and how or if this will affect his professional career. So let's bring Billy in. Hey Billy.
Hey Addison.
Okay, I'm going to start with the question that I'm sure once this news broke, many were wondering. Does this mean Garth Brooks loves Joe Biden and hates Donald Trump?
I'm pretty sure you're being facetious, but I'll take the bait. It does not mean that at all. I think what Garth and the organizers of this event want everyone to know is that they hope to unify, not divide the country with the selections of the performers and the day's full agenda. Garth said, quote, "You must rise beyond red and blue," and he even quoted Martin Luther King Jr. He looked genuinely exhausted when he said, "I'm so tired of being divided." And then he spoke with tears in his eyes of different unifying moments throughout his career, including those around the song "We Shall Be Free," which he says is more relevant today than it was back in 1992. I think most important, though, to proving the answer to this question is that he has not gotten political with president performances in the past. He has literally played for every president, except for Ronald Reagan, since the Jimmy Carter administration, and that list does include Donald Trump. And this will be his second inauguration after Barack Obama's in 2008, although he was asked to play for Donald Trump in 2016.
This feels so much more of a statement after the divisive election and the riots at the Capitol building. What did Garth say about that?
He stayed in his lane. Garth said he wouldn't be making any sort of speech or statement during the swearing-in performance, and he really didn't get all that political on Monday either. He stuck to the message of unity, and then when he was pressed on some of the issues like the riots earlier this month, and even safety on Wednesday after those riots, he more or less said, "It's my job to sing when they point to me, and that's what I'm going to do." Now, he did have some strong words about how it felt watching what happened at the Capitol on January 6th. He compared it to watching what happens in third world countries, and he certainly condemned that in a sort of soft, kind of Garth-like way. I think some of the decisions he's making and how intentional he's being about all of this speaks to his awareness. For instance, he'll perform alone, which is smart because, there is a pandemic happening. I think most telling, though, was about 2/3 of the way through the press conference when he talked about the conversation he had with future First Lady Jill Biden. She's the one who called him to invite him to perform. He said he might call her Mrs. Biden or future First Lady Biden or Dr. Biden or something else. He's not trying to exclude any of her hard-earned titles in any way. He's just got to pick one.
You mentioned he played for Donald Trump before, but he turned down the chance to play at his inauguration in 2017. Why?
Oh, good catch. Yeah, I need to explain that. This is a little bit sticky in retrospect, but the story he told on Monday matches pretty well what he said 4 years ago. Essentially, he said he had to turn it down in 2017 because he had concerts in Cincinnati. Now, we see that he did have those concerts, but they started the next day. Still, it was the first day in a new city. He had like 5 or 6 concerts in a row. He might have had legit work to do. At the time, his old buddy Steve Wynn, who, if you remember, and I'm going to go back a decade or so, Steve Wynn owns Wynn Casinos, and he hosted Garth Brooks for like 3 years in Vegas in like 2010-ish. Steve asked him to perform during the Donald Trump inauguration. He said he'd let Karma decide if, since he needed a second weekend, then he'd have to bow out of the inauguration. If not, he was going to do it. The degree to which he truly did not know where he'd be on January 20th, 2017, 1 month prior, that's debatable. There's always been a certain amount of sort of tightly planned spontaneity with everything that Garth does. It's part of why he's so good. But you can't pin him down on it either and say he dodged the Trump inauguration.
Do we know what Garth will perform and when?
No and yes, kind of. He's part of the swearing-in ceremony, not the concert that's going to happen on Wednesday night. So it's at the Capitol. Lady Gaga and J-Lo are also a part of this thing. He said he is not going to play We Shall Be Free because he played that song 12 years ago during Barack Obama's inauguration. He said the songs will be patriotic, though, and then reminded everyone that he is going to have to maintain some sort of entertainment value, so don't expect a bunch of ballads. One person on the press conference suggested The Change and The River. And of the two, Garth really seemed to like the idea of playing the change, but he really stopped well short of committing to it. He dodged the question and said he's got 2 or 3 possible set lists that he'll choose from.
How do you think this will affect Garth long term?
This is a really great question. In a normal year, I'd say it wouldn't, because it didn't really 12 years ago with Barack Obama, and he too was a pretty decisive victor. Toby Keith played Donald Trump's inauguration in 2017, and really all the furor of his being awarded the National Medal of Arts earlier this month can probably be traced back to that performance. People think he's a Trump guy, even though he's said at times that he's a Democrat. And Toby, let's be honest, he doesn't really seem to follow red or blue, but the green. I think this is always going to stick with Garth, though, for better or for worse. Some people will do as one person on Facebook said it and cancel him out from the rest of their lives. Those are the far right people. The far left will make him some sort of saint. I think the majority are just going to sort of move on. I think the center is quite a bit wider than you'd believe if you just went down into Twitter. That audience is who Garth has always targeted, so given his record and his reputation, they'll do fine, but it's not something that most people will forget.
Thanks for stopping by, Billy.
Yeah, no problem, Madison.
I'm Addison Hager for Taste of Country.
Thanks for watching.
And thanks for subscribing.